Coming up on Vegas Nation Game Day, Las Vegas gets ready to host its first NFL game. We'll take you inside Raider Image for the first time. And Johnny Katz sits down for an exclusive interview with football legend Terry Bradshaw.
They dominate the Denver Broncos. When they start upsetting teams like Baltimore, Dallas Cowboys, when they start doing that, just the Raiders name itself is elevated.
Our fast takes and smart coverage kicking off now.
This is Vegas Nation Game Day. Brought to you by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. Joining us live in the Review Journal studio are sports columnist Ed Graney and NFL reporter Adam Hill.
And as most of the NFL gets ready for Sunday, Allegiant Stadium is getting ready for its close-up. The Raiders will open their new home Monday with a primetime matchup against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints.
And as always, we here at Vegas Nation Game Day are working overtime to make sure you, the fans, are ready.
We'll be bringing you player interviews, expert insights from Review Journal reporters like Ed and Adam, as well as a few surprises you won't find anywhere else. So with that, let's go ahead and get to some storylines. First of all, Adam, the Raiders went to Carolina last week and got their season off on a winning start.
Yeah, and the most important takeaway is that they won the game. There's so many questions going into this season. Teams didn't have enough time in OTAs. They weren't able to take the field together at all during the summer. So who was going to be most ready? And I think the biggest key was just winning. And the Raiders were able to do that. There's a lot they can still work on. Certainly the defense needs to get more consistent. They made some big plays when they had to. The offense was efficient, finished in the red zone, but they're going to have to do it against better competition, and that starts this week.
Right. Well, the next storyline, Ed, the Raiders did not escape this game without injuries. What do we know about the health of linebacker Nick Kwiatkowski and tackle Trent Brown?
Listen, they're both doubtful. Trent Brown has the calf. Kwiatkowski has the pec. It wasn't torn. Also, Sam Young with a groin. Both tackles now, Brown and Young, are doubtful. In the NFL, 95% of the time, if you're doubtful, you're probably not going to play. Another up-to-date injury, Henry Ruggs, the wide receiver, has a knee. Now, he did go yesterday. It was a non-contact practice, so we expect Henry to play on Monday night. But look out for those doubtful players. Kwiatkowski, it's going to be hard covering Drew Brees and getting to him if he can't play.
And the third storyline, Adam, as we already mentioned, this is the week that Allegiant Stadium finally gets to host a football game.
It's time, Cassie. I mean, we are an NFL market now. Yeah. We knew that. We expected this. We knew this day was going to come, and it is here. I mean, I remember a day when the NFL wouldn't even allow the show Las Vegas to be promoted on the broadcast. This is insane that Las Vegas is an NFL market, but it is, and that starts with that first game at Allegiant Stadium tomorrow night.
Well, Ed said we are working overtime to get you ready for this week, and that will include a bonus episode of Vegas Nation Game Day. We will be here on Monday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. to take you right up until kickoff, the home opener against the New Orleans Saints. Ed and Adam and a host of Review Journal reporters will check in live from Allegiant Stadium. We will take a look at how the stadium itself got ready for kickoff, and we examine some of the things that make this place special for both Southern Nevada and the NFL. Well, let's go ahead and dive into some social media.
Is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable.
Let's start here with some social media. Adam, let's start with Raiderette Elizabeth. She shared some footage of the Raiderettes in front of Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, they're getting ready. They're making their mark here in town. We're seeing them all over town. We're seeing them as we see here all over social media, the videos, both with the team and individually. They're getting involved, and I think that people are learning that cheer squad is part of the team. It's part of what makes this franchise iconic, and now they're a part of the community here.
Ed, our sports columnist, I know you've got some opinions here on the Raiderettes. What do we think about the Raiderettes coming to Las Vegas?
Actually, it's just another great part of this team. They're part of the franchise. Tomorrow, 3 to 5, get out there. They're going to have 2 performances. They're also going to give some grab-and-go boxes for the fans. Get out there in front of Allegiant Stadium tomorrow. You'll see the Raiderettes. You'll see them perform. You get a little prize also.
All right, well, next up, the Saints showed us how opponents might be rolling up into Las Vegas this season.
All right. This is amazing. So the Saints, I think they're the first team, I know they're the first team that gets a chance to come to Las Vegas, and they have set the standard for how you address that on social media. How do you deal with your team going to Las Vegas? Well, you make it a road trip hangover style, and look at this. John Gruden as the driver next to the car. That is amazing. That's how you do social media right
That
there.
is good social media right there. Well, this week, Pro Football Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw sat down with our RJ Entertainment columnist John Katzlamidis. In the interview, Bradshaw gets real about his takes on the Raiders' move to Las Vegas, rivalries, and his Super Bowl predictions. Here's an early look at that.
The rivalries will carry on when they start beating Kansas City.
Yeah.
Who's in the division. When they dominate Kansas City, when they dominate the Chargers, when they dominate the Denver Broncos, when they start upsetting teams like Baltimore, Dallas Cowboys, when they start doing that, just the Raiders name itself is elevated. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They've got to start doing that. They barely won last week against Carolina. But they have got to start doing that. And once they do, there's a fear factor that comes in when people say, man, we don't want to play the Raiders. Well, they're a bunch of nasty people.
We'll have more from that interview coming up in just a bit, but also coming up on Vegas Nation Game Day. Ed Graney flips the field with Saints reporter Mike Nabors.
But the last couple of years, especially last year, and I think this year, the defense is the strength of this football team.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan. Are you ready, Las Vegas? The Raiders are poised to make football history, and the Las Vegas Review Journal team has you covered. Join us for a live bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. as the Las Vegas Raiders prepare to open Allegiant Stadium against the New Orleans Saints. Player interviews, expert insights, and all the local angles on Southern Nevada's newest sports team. Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. Fast takes, smart coverage.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm being completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage. Field Pass is sponsored by Scenic Brewing Company, your neighborhood brewery and sports bar.
With your Field Pass from Allegiant Stadium, I'm Heidi Fang. Well, week one in Carolina was much different than any other NFL season I had ever seen for many reasons. First of all, there were no fans allowed inside of Bank of America Stadium. There were also restrictions placed on journalists like myself and where we could go inside of the stadium. I got to spend some time in the end zone, and I wasn't alone. Sir Purr, the Panthers mascot, kept all of us entertained, including the other staff and media that were there to cover the game. That matchup, of course, the Raiders won 34-30.
Heidi, of course, you've covered plenty of sporting events in your career. What was it like to cover last week's game with all the restrictions brought on by COVID-19?
Well, Cassie, the first thing that was different was if you walked into any ladies' room, the bathrooms had the sinks taped off as well as partitions in between each stall. So things were roped off in a manner for helping everybody figure out how to use those facilities during the COVID era. There were also arrows on the ground pointing which direction you should be walking if you were in a particular zone. That was another thing, was most of the people that were there were placed into zones. So there was an operational zone, there was a mezzanine zone, there were zones where you could not access if you were part of photo, let's say. You could not go up to the press box, where that as well was also partitioned and separated so that the journalists would be 6 feet apart and also barricaded with plastic.
Everyone involved in covering the NFL has had to take regular COVID-19 tests. Heidi, how are the Raiders handling that?
Well, Cassie, what the Raiders have done is made sure that everybody, including the media, are following all of the testing guidelines. They've kept themselves separated when traveling on the road in hotels. They have not gone out. They've minimized their presence at large gatherings as well. So the Raiders are doing all that they can from their team perspective to be able to do this whole season safely.
Heidi, thanks so much for that report. Well, Raiders players and coaches had plenty to say after last week's victory over the Panthers, including how big the win was for their new city. Let's take a look.
It's a historic win for me. It's a historic win for all our players and our entire organization. Everybody got game balls. And I'm going to see if I can get hundreds of game balls to pass out to some of our season ticket holders. We'd love to be going back to our stadium and debuting on Monday night with everyone, but it means a lot. You know, we're all emotional about it. We wanted to get a win for them. And like I said when I started, hopefully our fans back home saw something they liked.
Definitely, defense didn't play the way we needed. Shout out to the offense. They definitely held it down. But, it was good. At the end of the day, man, it was just a joy to bring a win. The first win ever of the Las Vegas Raiders. So,
I mean, it's obviously big to get a win for the first year that we're here with Las Vegas. And not only that, but just also for Oakland, too, just setting it off for them and just letting them know that we're still here and we still want to win games and things like that. So it's been huge.
The opening of Allegiant Stadium is drawing attention to Las Vegas from all across the sporting's world. The game will air on Monday on ESPN and ABC. And this week, Heidi Fang interviewed ESPN NFL features reporter Michelle Beisner-Buck about her story on 3 families of Raiders fans from 3 different places.
There's such a rich history with the Raiders in the NFL, and as much as they've moved around, their fan base has stayed the same. They've been loyal no matter where they've gone. And this Monday night, we wanted to highlight some of that. So I'm really looking forward to rolling out this piece, even if we can't kind of do it exactly the way that we wanted to.
Some of the families that you followed, it's really amazing their journeys as Raider fans. And some of them have bought these legacy bricks that are going up and around the stadium. One of them that most interested me that I saw in a little snippet of your feature was Ed and Tina Acevedo. They're from Corona, California, but they got married in Las Vegas. Talk to me about what it was like speaking with them and their unique wedding that they had in Las Vegas.
All right. Well, first of all, Tina and Ed they were so much fun to interview. We luckily were able to do all of these interviews via Zoom. So I at least got to see their faces. Their love for each other and Raider Nation is like nothing maybe I've ever seen. And I am a super fan of team myself, and this is legit. So they were both managers at Walmart. They met there. They started dating. Obviously for Ed, Tina had to be a Raider fan. There was no way that he was going to spend the rest of his life with somebody that wasn't a Raiders fan. He introduced her to Raider Nation. They went to a game. They sat in the black hole. They tailgated in Oakland at OCO. And she said it was the best time of their life. And from that moment on, she was a diehard Raider fan. So they went and they got married. I won't tell you the rest of it, but they did it in their Raiders jerseys. So, the Raiders are not only a part of how they started dating and how they courted one another and the bonds that they kind of formed going to games, but man, I mean, they took it to the extreme. They got married in Raiders jerseys. I don't know that, as much as I love my husband, I don't know that I would have done that for him. So kudos to her.
Now it's time for Flip the Field, where our own Ed Graney talks to someone who covers the Raiders' opponent. Today, Ed speaks with Cox Sports TV reporter Mike Neighbors.
To learn more about the New Orleans Saints, the opponent of the Raiders on Monday night, let's flip this field and go to Mike Neighbors, TV host of Cox Sports Television. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Well, let's get right to it. We know that the Saints took care of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers last week. The Saints, again, kind of that sexy pick to get to the Super Bowl, hasn't happened in a while. What makes this team different going forward in your mind that they can actually come through with that kind of prediction this year?
Well, Malcolm Jenkins came over from Philadelphia in the offseason, and from afar, he was wondering why this team hasn't won in recent years. And there's been a myriad of reasons. You can look at the no call, and you can look at the Minnesota game from 3 years ago now. Last year, though, they laid an egg against Minnesota. They didn't play well in the playoff game. But I think what makes this team different is they may be the most talented team in the Sean Payton era. But if you want to debate that, you can't debate they're the deepest team. I mean, this is a deep football team. It's really hard to find a weakness on this team, offensively, defensively, great special teams. So they're talented and they're very, very deep.
Yeah, okay, so they come in Monday night to Allegiant Stadium. They'll play the first regular season game in the history of that venue. No fans. We know that Michael Thomas, now their star wide receiver, is out. Everyone talks about Breeze for good reason. Hall of Fame quarterback, Kamara, what they can do offensively. Tell me defensively, though, because the Raiders actually last week in Carolina, nice offensive effort, spread the ball around. What can we expect from the Saints defense to try to slow down Derek Carr and company?
Well, you make a good point because everybody does talk about the offense when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, and for good reason. They've lit up the stat sheet and the record book under Sean Payton and Drew Brees. But the last couple of years, especially last year, and I think this year, the defense is the strength of this football team. And I talked about the depth. I mean, you look at the defensive line, they have a third-year player named Marcus Davenport, who was actually a second-year player, they traded 2 first-round picks for. I think he's going to be good, but he had an elbow injury and missed the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they're so deep, they had guys step up like Trey Hendrickson and Carl Granderson, and they both had a sack in that game, played meaningful minutes. So that's my point. You lose a guy like Marcus Davenport, and you have guys to step up. You lose a Michael Thomas, that's a big loss, but this Saints team has proven over the years, if you lose a Breeze, Teddy Bridgewater steps in and goes 5-0. If you lose an Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray steps up. So offensively, defensively, a lot of depth, and you have a lot of talent.
Mike, great stuff. We appreciate it. We'll see you here in Vegas.
I look forward to it.
Well, there you go, Cassie. It's Flip the Field. A little more information for the fans on the New Orleans Saints coming in here Monday night. Back to you guys.
Ed, thank you. Coming up next on Vegas Nation Game Day, John Katzlamidas talks to Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw about the Raiders and their move to Las Vegas. Stay with us.
NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. Who did the Raiders play in their first game outside the United States? Was it A, the Chicago Bears, B, Dallas Cowboys, C, New Orleans Saints, or D, Pittsburgh Steelers?
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan. Are you ready, Las Vegas? The Raiders are poised to make football history, and the Las Vegas Review Journal team has you covered. Join us for a live bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. as the Las Vegas Raiders prepare to open Allegiant Stadium against the New Orleans Saints. Player interviews, expert insights, and all the local angles on Southern Nevada's newest sports team. Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. Fast takes, smart coverage.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm being completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm Cassie Soto. After winning 4 Super Bowls with the Pittsburgh Steelers, quarterback Terry Bradshaw took his talents to the TV booth. He can now be seen on Sundays as part of the Fox NFL lineup. Review Journal entertainment columnist John Katzlamides spoke this week with Bradshaw about the Raiders regaining their swagger in the NFL.
What do you think about the Raiders' brand inside the NFL, Terry? I know the Oakland Raiders had a certain, attitude to silver and black and all that. Do you think that the Las Vegas Raiders, the new addition, is going to be able to maintain its rivalries with teams like the Steelers, the Chiefs and Chargers, in their division?
Absolutely. Listen, they're still in the AFC West. They're still the Raiders. They just moved. That's all. They just moved. And so they can certainly do that. The rivalries will carry on when they start beating Kansas City.
Yeah.
When they dominate Kansas City, when they dominate the Chargers, when they dominate the Denver Broncos, when they start upsetting teams like Baltimore, Dallas Cowboys, when they start doing that, just the Raiders name itself is elevated. Okay? They've got to start doing that. They barely won last week against Carolina. But they have got to start doing that. And once they do, there's a fear factor that comes in when people say, well, we don't want to play the Raiders. Well, they're a bunch of nasty people. If you looked at the Steelers the other night against the Giants, that's the kind of defense you've got to have. Fast, explosive, going across, making great tackles. John Gruden, he's got time to make this happen. He's a good coach, man. So I think you're in good hands, but that's what's got to happen out there.
Do you keep in touch with any of the Raiders alumni from your playing days, of the guys you played against at all, and gauge their feeling about being out in Las Vegas?
I think everybody I know the opposing teams love the fact they're going to Vegas, and I also know that the Raiders. I know obviously Howie Long and Little Howie works for the Raiders. Matter of fact, I almost bought season tickets this year because my wife loves Vegas, and she's outside of the Chiefs. She really likes the Raiders. So I said, well, we'll get season tickets, and then we couldn't afford them. We had to back off. Either that or sell a cow, maybe get a couple of coats.
Do you have a prediction for or have you made a prediction about who you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl this year?
Yes, I do. I've got Kansas City and New Orleans, with New Orleans in an upset.
Okay, all right. And I wanted to ask.
Hey, that's today.
Yeah.
Right? Today. Okay. You asked me, and that's my prediction.
You're like a NASDAQ predictor. You go with the trends.
I'm like the market. It's up and down depending on who's winning and losing, right? Pretty easy.
Ed, what did you think about what Terry had to say?
Well, listen, aren't the Chiefs everyone's fear factor right now in the NFL? Not just the Raiders. Pat Mahomes signed for a decade. Look, they're the best team. So getting to dominate them, that's going to take a while. Everyone's after the Chiefs, especially in that division. I actually think the Raiders are as good as the Chargers and Broncos right now in the division. I don't know about the Cowboys. We'll see if they ever match up. But it's a bit of a stretch to say dominate the Chiefs, but I do think over the next several years they can do enough to contend with the Chiefs. My question to you, Adam Hill, is are there any cows running around that house of yours that you would sell for season tickets?
Yeah, listen, I'll gladly trade a cow for season tickets. I don't know what I would do with the cows. I definitely don't have one. But also, listen, did you see the cabinets behind him? That is some nice wood. I don't think he's hurting. I think he could have afforded season tickets if he wanted to. Maybe trade in those cabinets.
Or the Emmy. He's got a couple Emmys back there, too.
Yes, but as Ed was mentioning, the thought of the Chiefs for the next decade with Pat Mahomes is enough to drive anybody to need a drink on a Sunday morning, I think.
Well, that's what we call a segue here in TV, Adam. And since the Raiders are playing the Saints, J.R. Starkus is serving up today's Vegas Nation cocktail with a New Orleans twist.
Hey Raider Nation, J.R. Starkus here again with Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits, back for your Week 2 cocktail that you're going to watch against the Saints this week. So I'm going to do an Old Fashioned, but typically that Old Fashioned is made with bourbon or rye. Today, since it's the Saints, I'm going to do it with cognac. You're going to need a rocks glass, a couple peels of fresh orange right into our glass, and about a half an ounce of simple syrup with a few dashes of an aromatic bitters. This is Australian brand aromatic bitters. This drink is so easy to make. We're gonna take our muddler and we're just gonna easily muddle this together. We're not trying to do anything other than extract some of the oils into the citrus, or into the simple syrup here. Then I'm gonna take a nice healthy pour of our Remy Martin 1738 cognac, an unbelievably delicious cognac for this cocktail. I highly recommend it. We're gonna do 2 full ounces of 1738. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of ice to my glass. Leaving just a little bit of room because I just want to stir it all together, chill it down, start to dilute the cognac a little bit, incorporate the bitters, the sugar, and the orange peel. The garnish, just a Luxardo cherry if you so desire right on top. And there you have a wonderful, wonderful Remy 1738 Old Fashioned for the cocktail for the game. Cheers.
Well, 9 a.m., of course, is pretty early here in Las Vegas, so we like to get you caught up on what we've covered so far. First of all, the Raiders are looking to build on last week's win at Carolina by hosting the New Orleans Saints this week.
Yeah, the Raiders are going into that game with some injury concerns. Linebacker Nick Kwiatkowski, Trent Brown, both listed as doubtful for Monday, and Henry Ruggs is really the name to watch. Didn't practice much all week, was on the field with no pads on Saturday, but we will see around game time if he's able to go or not.
And Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw told us the Raiders are going to regain that fear factor when they start beating teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Well, Adam, again, I don't think we can really just underestimate or really, not talk about the importance of Monday Night Football in Las Vegas. We here have been in Las Vegas. You're Vegas born, correct?
No, I mean, I've been here long enough to be a native.
I think what's your past 10 years? So I'm at the 15-year mark. So
8th grade for me.
There you go. There you go. So how big of a deal is this for us? For kids who grew up, we only knew UNLV. We didn't know professional teams here in Las Vegas.
It's insane. And listen, I will say right now, I was wrong. I'm one of the people that said so for so many years. It's never going to happen. We'll get NHL, MLB, NBA, that sort of thing. We're not going to get an NFL team. We have an NFL team, and we're going to see it Monday night, a stadium right off the strip. What better way to showcase our new stadium here in Las Vegas, too, than Monday Night Football? That is all the eyes of the league are watching. The eyes of the world are going to be watching Las Vegas. That is incredibly cool.
So you, of course, will be at the game. Ed Graney, Heidi Fang will all be there. What are you most looking forward to seeing? Getting in? Are you just ready to take in that moment, really?
Yeah, I think it's how like Allegiant Stadium is showcased.
Yeah.
Like to see it at night. You can look out the lanai doors out onto the strip. You're going to see just such a cool looking city with everything lit up and just how we are showcased. Because I'd be looking forward to how the fans experience Allegiant Stadium. We haven't seen that yet. We're not going to see that tomorrow, but I just think as a stadium to be spotlighted for the nation, it is going to be really cool.
It's going to be great. Well, still ahead on Vegas Nation Game Day, we'll visit a place that can help fans of the Silver and Black get ready for tomorrow's home opener. We'll be right back.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan. Are you ready, Las Vegas? The Raiders are poised to make football history, and the Las Vegas Review Journal team has you covered. Join us for a live bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. as the Las Vegas Raiders prepare to open Allegiant Stadium against the New Orleans Saints. Player interviews, expert insights, and all the local angles on Southern Nevada's newest sports team. Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. Fast takes, smart coverage.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage. NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. The answer is C, New Orleans Saints. The Saints beat the Raiders 17-10 in a 1990 preseason game at Wembley Stadium in London.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day, presented by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
If you need some last-minute Las Vegas Raiders gear, you should head on down to Allegiant Stadium today and check out the Raider Image Store. It officially opened to the public on Wednesday, and it could very well be a dangerous place for some die-hard Raiders fans with a credit card.
Well, I'd say we are in, I think it's the center of all things merchandise for Raider fans out there inside of Allegiant Stadium. So we've built an 18,500 square foot store that's amazing, has product for game day, to see a game, has product for wearing to work. It's got everything in here.
From hats to jerseys old and new, there's something for everyone's budget.
Well, we have lots of Las Vegas Raider product, which obviously right now is really important to the whole local market. If you're looking for a keychain, we have keychains galore to take a look at, but there's just all sorts of things in the store.
But if you have a couple $1,000 laying around, you could buy the Raider fan in your life something very unique.
My gosh, we have a Swarovski helmet that is $12,500.
And we can put that on a loan program? Is there payment plan?
We'll figure out layaway for you, whatever you need.
The team store opened to the public at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and Raiders fans from all over the country made sure to make one last stop before heading back home.
Yep, Dallas. Texas. Oh, Dallas. We represent the Raiders hard in Dallas. Don't let them Cowboy fans fool you.
Anything that we usually have a hard time finding, that's what we're trying to find here. So
now it is hard to find Raiders stuff in Texas, though. They do have it, but there's so many Raiders fans in Texas that when as quick as they put it on the shelf, it's gone.
Definitely a T-shirt or two and some masks and maybe a jersey, but I'm a Lions fan too, actually. You know, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you got to have a team you cheer for real too. You know, so.
The Raider Image is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., with the exception of being closed on game days. So there's still time for fans to gear up for the team's Monday night football game. Adam, do we think that $12,000 helmet is the one Antonio Brown was complaining about last year?
I don't think so. Listen, we documented that helmet saga every day during training camp last year up in Napa. It still gives me nightmares, I think, just to think every day you'd wake up, what is Antonio Brown going to be thinking about his helmet today? That was not the one. I do have a big question, though. Ed Graney, you come home and ask the wife, hey, I want to buy this helmet. $12,500. It's great. Going to look good on the mantle. What's the answer?
It's a layup, kid. She wouldn't spend $12. You know this. I want to know if Antonio Brown, they also have maybe a star-studded boot for those frozen feet. Maybe needs one of those. Now, come on now, Adam. You know my price point. The son wants a couple T-shirts and hats. That's where I stop, guys. But no, she would not approve that helmet.
Maybe a hat more in maybe in your price range. Plenty of things there, though.
Plenty of things.
Whatever you want for the Raiders fan in your life, you can get it there at that store.
Exactly.
Yeah, no question about it.
I was at the store, guys. Actually, so it opened up to the public on Wednesday at 11 a.m. We sent one of our videographers, Dre Fox, out there, and he said, hey, Cass, there's only a couple people out here. Well, yesterday, there was a 2.5-hour wait to get into this store. So Raiders fans, if you're trying to get down there, it's a little early now. It opens at 11 a.m. So go ahead and get on down there. You might want to be first in line there.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, listen, the fans are excited. You can tell, and we know just based on what's going on down there. We saw the lines, as you mentioned. People are excited for this team. They want to get their gear, and that is absolutely the spot to do it.
Now let's go to Review Journal sports betting reporter Todd Dewey for a look at today's action at the Westgate.
Thanks, Cassie. The Saints are 5.5-point favorites over the Raiders here at the Westgate, and the total is 48.5. The line has bounced around quite a bit on this game since May when the Saints opened as 4-point favorites. It was at 6.5 earlier this week before dropping after it was reported that Saints wideout Michael Thomas would miss the game. Thomas is one of only 3 NFL wide receivers, the bookmaker told me, that's worth a half point to the spread. The others are Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins. And also for home field advantage, there won't be any fans at the game, but a bookmaker told me if there was a sold-out crowd at Allegiant, it would have been only a point lower on the point spread because there'd be plenty of Saints fans at the game. A professional sports bettor I spoke with told me the Raiders are his best bet this week. He really liked how their offense looked in the win at Carolina. The Saints traveling west is a slight disadvantage. And despite no fans at the game, he expects Raiders players to have plenty of extra incentive to win their first game in Las Vegas. Of course, bettors don't need the Raiders to win the game to cover the spread. They just need them to keep it close. But if you live by Al Davis' mantra, the Raiders are 2-1 underdogs on the money line where it's just win, Cassie.
Dewey, thank you so much. Well, fans, if you want to follow the wagering action during the game, our own Jim Barnes is running a live betting blog. That's available at reviewjournal.com. Joining me again are Ed Graney and Adam Hill as we go across the league. Ed, the Denver Broncos opened their season Monday night against the Tennessee Titans, and it was quite an adventure.
Adventure, not a good game. Obviously, Titans win 16-14. Steven Gostkowski, was he missing Belichick and Brady? The guy misses 3 field goals and an extra point, but he comes through in the end, hits the field goal to win it for the Titans on the road. I'll tell you what, if you're a Raiders fan and you watch that game, you're not completely afraid right now of the Denver Broncos, and we're going to talk about the Chargers as well. You can think you contend with these teams. Obviously, we've talked about Kansas City being at the top, but again, if you're the Raiders and you watch that game, you're not feeling very worried.
Right, and Adam, the Los Angeles Chargers benefited from another kicker's agony.
Yeah, there were some adventures in the kicking game, not only Gostkowski, who actually was able to redeem himself with that late field goal that he kicked for the winner. Not so much in Cincinnati. The Chargers played a really kind of an ugly, low-scoring game. They're going to rely on their defense and their running game. They got Tyrod Taylor as a starting quarterback now who will not turn the ball over. And I think last year the Chargers got themselves in trouble turning the ball over way too often. He is a guy that's going to come in. He's going to make plays enough to keep the chains moving. We saw that last week. And in the end, Randy Bullock of Cincinnati has a chance to tie the game and force overtime after Cincinnati thought they had a touchdown, got wiped out by an offensive penalty. He has a chance to tie it and send it to overtime on a chip shot shorter than an extra point. I think he had a cramp. It was listed as a calf injury.
Yeah.
He was listed as a calf injury. He's approaching the ball for the game-time field goal. His legs just give out, and he misses the field goal. So the Chargers survive. They move to 1-0 along with the Raiders in the division and the Chiefs. And again, not like an intimidating game from the Chargers, but I think it shows the difference from last year to this year. They're going to be a team that just plays defense, controls the ball, doesn't turn it over.
All right. Well, Las Vegas, of course, is a 24-hour town, and it took a 24-hour effort to construct Allegiant Stadium. Review Journal videographer Michael Quine shows us the building of a jewel in the desert. Coming up on Vegas Nation Game Day, we'll hear from the Raiders in their own words. Stay with us.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan. Are you ready, Las Vegas? The Raiders are poised to make football history, and the Las Vegas Review Journal team has you covered. Join us for a live bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. as the Las Vegas Raiders prepare to open Allegiant Stadium against the New Orleans Saints. Player interviews, expert insights, and all the local angles on Southern Nevada's newest sports team. Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. Fast takes, smart coverage.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage. Raiders Replay is sponsored by De Castro Verde Law Group. Our motivation is you.
The Raiders and the Saints remain in a dead heat historically, and their 2020 matchup will put one team over the 500 mark in their series unless the game ends in a tie, which happened the first time these two teams met in 1971. At 6-6 with one tie in their game series, the last time Derek Carr and Drew Brees squared off, it was 2016 in New Orleans. The Raiders won the game by 1 point, 35-34. The Raiders' game highlights included Jalen Richard breaking loose for a 75-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter, and the Raiders tying it up with a 2-point conversion. With the Saints ahead late in the fourth, the Raiders drove downfield, and on a fourth down play, the Saints were flagged with pass interference, and Seth Roberts would be the benefactor of a touchdown pass from Derek Carr on the next set of downs. The Raiders went for another 2-point conversion to take the lead in the game. Drew Brees had 47 seconds to drive down the field. The result was a missed 61-yard field goal by Will Lutz, who was still the Saints kicker and at that time was a rookie. That would have given the Saints the lead. Instead, it gave the Raiders a win. There are two former Raiders who are now part of the Saints, running back Latavius Murray, who saw some work in that 2016 matchup, and also Jared Cook, who was a former Raiders tight end. As the Raiders head coach in 2000, John Gruden led the team to victory over the Saints 31-22. All eyes will be on Gruden, Carr, and company to see if the Raiders can beat the Saints in Week 2 in their opener in Las Vegas. And that'll do it for this moment in Raiders history.
Our social media is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable.
Cassie Soto here with Adam Hill. Adam, let's take one more look at our social media. Our very own Heidi Fang tweeted some video of a dance-off between Raiders defensive backs Damon Arnette and Jonathan Abram.
So Damon Arnette dances in the stretch line every single day.
Right.
This is nothing new. Now Jonathan Abram, it looks like, just kind of decides to challenge him. This is great. They also have a bit of a dance contest at the end of the last practice of the week, usually Friday, this week Saturday. So they're having fun out there on the field, no question about it. Now here's the thing. We wanted you to match Jonathan Abram's dance moves and Damon Arnette's. You said you couldn't do it. We know. We've seen you dance. It's not good. I certainly can't dance. We know that. The upset of the year, our very own Ed Graney actually claims to be a dancer.
We got to see this, Ed.
Hold on now. I won a dance contest freshman year in college, not sure where. I might have been the only one in the contest. Won a cold beverage at the end. This is the move that won it, though. That's all I had to do. That's all I had to do.
That's not
I was the only one in the contest. Hey, first
all
of all,
day. Can we just
Jonathan
hit Ed
Abram.
Brady real quick?
Yeah, right here.
Hey,
Jonathan Abram.
there we go.
Come on, man. He's got the worm going. What are you, from 1950? He's got to win the contest, though, because Arnett never gets off the ground. Kid's on his knee the whole time. Listen, come on, Arnett. Give it to me, baby. I won that contest back in college. Cold beverage for the winner.
I'm not going to accept your critique of his dancing when you're doing whatever that is.
It's a move.
So no, that's not acceptable.
It's a winning move. It's a winning move.
It is.
Because there's nobody else in the contest.
It's the move.
Okay,
That's what I
listen.
think.
David Arnett wins the dance battle every single day. Jonathan Abram can have this one, but Arnett he's the defending champion out there. On the
But
field,
Ed gets it today. Ed gets it today. Well, Adam,
No.
our colleague Vinny Bonsignor sent us a video of Elvis Presley taking part in practice, sort of.
Listen, the Raiders like to have fun. If you listen to their music, it usually has a theme out on the field. This week, their first practice of the week was the Monday Night Football theme. But they like to keep things fun, and John Gruden certainly likes to do that. And with a little Elvis Presley, a little tribute to Las Vegas ahead of their first game in Las Vegas, for sure.
All right, fans. Well, we want you to be involved in our show. So send us your pictures and videos and your posts to Vegas Nation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for a chance to be part of our Monday's bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day. And while we want to hear from you at home what you have to say, now we're going to go ahead and take a listen to what the Raiders themselves had to say this week.
I didn't notice any crowd noise yesterday. I even heard my wife's name on TV. Derek used my wife's name in one of his audibles, so it must not have been that loud. Still trying to figure out why Cindy Gruden came up during the game. I got to look into that. Yeah, unfortunately for me, I could never hear him until yesterday. So I don't know what he's been up to at the line of scrimmage, but better keep my wife out of it from now on.
If y'all believe Coach Gruden doesn't know my audibles, he's got you guys fooled. This is his offense. No, he does have some fun things to say. I do surprise some of the coaches sometimes at practice with some of my audibles. That is one of them that I surprised him with last year, and he did enjoy it. And he said, "All right, that one can stick." So I do have some. I got some more up my sleeve.
It's weird because that's one thing that I kind of thought about, like how would I feel after this game. But I feel good. I really didn't have any like nicks and stuff for real. And I remember last year after the game, I kind of felt like I was in a car crash. So I mean, I feel good. My body could full go. If we could play today, then I would.
Ed, let's talk about the Saints game for a moment. Of course, when you think of the Saints, you think of Drew Brees. What can the Raiders do to stop him?
Stop him, I don't know, but they better get pressure on him, Adam. They better be more aggressive. You can't go into a game thinking you get one sack like he did last week against Teddy Bridgewater. This is not Teddy Bridgewater. Drew Brees, his offensive line is one of the best in the league. I'm telling you, they better get to him because if they allow him to sit back there all night at Allegiant Stadium, it could be a long night for the Raiders.
Vegas Nation Game Day will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews. How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender
on paper,
either.
they are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review-Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan. Are you ready, Las Vegas? The Raiders are poised to make football history, and the Las Vegas Review-Journal team has you covered. Join us for a live bonus edition of Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. as the Las Vegas Raiders prepare to open Allegiant Stadium against the New Orleans Saints. Player interviews, expert insights, and all the local angles on Southern Nevada's newest sports team. Vegas Nation Game Day this Monday at 4 p.m. Fast takes, smart coverage.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage. The Road Ahead is sponsored by the Richard Harris Law Firm. Just in case. Injured? Call 444-4444.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm Cassie Soto here along with Adam Hill. Adam, the road ahead takes us all to Allegiant Stadium tomorrow. What does this game mean for the Raiders and for all of Southern Nevada?
Well, listen, Las Vegas didn't need the NFL. Most markets, when the NFL comes there, it completely changes the identity of that market. Las Vegas didn't need that. Las Vegas has a brand. Las Vegas has an identity, but this just adds to it even more. We saw what the Golden Knights did for this community, and of course them coming along at the time that the community needed with the tragedy and everything that the city was going through. We saw the embrace that the community had. But the NFL is a totally different level. The NFL being in your market means you are just a major city. And again, we were already, but this is just something totally new for Las Vegas. And I think everybody should be excited. I know all the sports fans in town are excited, but I think even beyond sports, it just means so much to a city.
Right. All right. Well, our own Ed Graney has some hot takes on what this game means for everyone involved. Ed.
Thanks, Cassie. Hey, everyone. Well, the Raiders got past what I really believed was a must-win game last week in beating the Panthers in Charlotte. Any win in the NFL is a good one, and especially when it comes on the road for a team traveling east. But now comes that early part of the schedule that everyone has been talking about since we first learned who Las Vegas would be playing in 2020, the stretch I like to call as show-me games. In other words, the Raiders need to show by their play on the field they are as improved a football team as they claim. It's not going to be easy. It all begins against the Saints on Monday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium, where history will be made as Las Vegas hosts its first regular season NFL game when Drew Brees and New Orleans Saints come to town. The Saints are one of those popular picks to reach the Super Bowl out of the NFC this year. It seems they're one of those picks every year, and for good reason. Brees just continues to add to his Hall of Fame resume, and New Orleans continues to be a team nearly impossible to stop most weeks. You have to go into this game assuming you might have to score at least 3 and maybe more to give yourself a chance. The old cliche is true. For most teams, the one that says you make the most improvement between weeks 1 and 2 of a season. That's when you have an ability to clean up the mistakes. Well, the Raiders better get a big mop out when it comes to their defense. The thing is, Brees only threw for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 34-23 last week. But in 32 dropbacks, he was only sacked once and only hit 3 times, and the Bucs have what has been a far more stout defense than the Raiders of late. No offense to the Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, whom the Raiders only sacked once. But this is a huge step up in terms of the ability at the position that Brees plays. The Raiders have to find a way to reach him somehow, disturb him, or they're in for a very long Monday night. The Raiders are too young in the back end, even with Saints star wide receiver Michael Thomas out with injury, to let Brees get comfortable. Did you hear the name Max Crosby just once last week? Me neither. The second-year defensive end, along with all those across the line for the Raiders, need to be a whole lot better and more aggressive than they were in Charlotte. That's what a show-me game means. Show you can finally stand up and contain one of the league's most high-powered offenses. At this point, it's believe it when we see it when it comes to the Raiders. My pick, Saints 31, Raiders 26. I'm Ed Graney, and those are my hot takes.
All right, well, there are Ed's hot takes. But, Adam, before we wrap up here, we have to talk about the Raiders offense a little bit. And I think we have to really just put a pinpoint here on the fact that Derek Carr did not get sacked.
Yeah.
On Sunday, and that was pretty big of the offense.
Huge, very efficient. But the offense was efficient last year. The difference this year, they were able to finish in the red zone, no question about it. But you want to have the kind of performance they had last week. Again, level of competition, we get it, but they had to go out and do it. And here's something I found out in my research this week, which was unbelievable. 3 penalties in the game, no sacks, no turnovers. Do you know when the last time the Raiders had 3 penalties or less, 0 sacks and 0 turnovers? Never. It had never happened in the history of the Raiders franchise. It happened last week. So that is how efficient they were. Now, we should point out that there was a far less penalties called last week in the NFL. It sounds like they are trying to call less penalties, throw less flags. They think it helps the game move along a little bit more quickly. But to have that sort of efficiency on offense and defense, when we talked about how disjointed the offseason was, the coaching staff had to be thrilled with that.
Right, right. And Ed, just your final thoughts here as well, the offense. Obviously, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, what do we know here? Josh Jacobs, obviously, he wanted to step up in his passing game, and it looks like he was doing that as well.
3 touchdowns. Hey, Josh Jacobs has to come to play tomorrow night as well. Why? Keep Drew Brees off the field. Gruden loves to run the clock. He loves to run the ball. They need to do more of that. Adam hit it on the head. What did we hear all off season? When they get to the red zone, they can't score touchdowns. Well, last week they were 3 or 4. They could have been 4 for 4. Maybe if Witten gets to the goal line all the way through, he scores. He didn't. They get a field goal out of it. But this is a game where they have to control the ball. We don't know how Henry Ruggs will be. We don't know what his health will be. If he's healthy, he can also stretch the field. Waller underneath, Hunter Renfrow underneath. Didn't see Bryan Edwards do much last week. Maybe they involve him. It's going to come down to Josh Jacobs and that offensive line continuing to play well and keeping Drew Brees off the field.
All right, well, before we go, let's go ahead and take one last look at our social media. We know that fans are, of course, so excited. We want to see all of your guys' excitement here. Here's a call out here. Let's see. Oh, you know what he's saying. You know what he's saying. Broncos, right? Chiefs.
I think Raiders.
Yeah.
Actually, I was at the image store. That's the guy that bought that helmet. So I'm surprised he's not wearing it.
Is that the guy?
Yeah, I think it's him.
There you go. Look at here's some friendly.
Definitely a Chargers, or what is that? A Colts fan in the background?
I think Chargers. I think Chargers fan. Let's see. There we go.
Bolts. Okay, it was
Bolts,
Bolts.
not
Yeah,
Colts.
It was a Chargers. It was a Chargers fan.
What else do we got here? My future Raiderette. Oh, there you go. There was actually some really cute little Raider cheerleader outfits. Oh, here we go. Raider dog says Raiders. Where's the audio on this? I need Raiders.
I think he's just barking.
Raiders. Raiders.
Is that your impression?
I think so, right? That's a good bulldog
solid.
impression.
Very solid.
There we go.
Impressed. Better than Ed's dancing, for sure.
Let's hit it one more time. Hold on. Let's see Ed Gurney's dancing. Let's see it one more time.
Don't make fun of me. I won a contest.
Against no one. You competed
It's true. I was the only
nobody.
one in the contest.
You can't take credit for that.
Well, that will do it for this edition of Vegas Nation Game Day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for a bonus edition of at Allegiant Stadium. We will see you then.
Ha 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 ha!